My name's Catherine McMahon. I'm currently an independent consultant, and I'm focused on organizational development and program management, mostly in international development. I do some domestic work as well these days. I started in the sector like a lot of people in the Peace Corps. So I was in the Peace Corps in Romania. And honestly, I didn't really know what international development was. I just wanted to live overseas for a couple of years. But I sort of learned about it as part of Peace Corps training. And so when I came back to the States, the first job that I got was with a contractor with USAID as a training assistant. And it was a contract that worked with the Office of Good for Peace and training USAID staff managing Good for Peace programs. And so that's kind of how I started and moved from there onto the NGO side. And the rest is history, as they say. I worked for a few different large NGOs and then started consulting about 6 years ago. So a lot of my career was focused on business development. We're working on proposals for large INGOs who got a lot of USAID funding. That was kind of where I cut my teeth. And I first started thinking about the role of local organizations and sort of how INGOs work with them through that work. I went to Egypt shortly after the Arab Spring to work on some proposals. And there was a couple of APSs that USAID released. And you, as an INGO, you were required to have local partners. Even though the mission was very, I think, genuine and really wanted to make sure that these resources were getting into the hands of local organizations, it was just really demonstrated to me how much their systems don't allow that to happen and how many obstacles are just built into their normal ways of working. And so I try to just sort of be an advocate for a more transparent approach with partners, a more being aware of our power dynamics and thinking in that way about how we work with local organizations. So that's kind of how I landed in this place of being interested in this and getting the experience for it. And so years later, when SAS came about, I was really interested in it. Before I was on the advisory board, I just was following it and went to a few events. And so when the opportunity came to be part of this advisory group, I jumped right at it. It's right up my alley. I think one of the things I've liked best about SAS Plus and in SAS before that is this focus on the idea that it's the responsibility of INGOs to approach their partnerships from the beginning with an eye to how is this transition going to happen. I think it's easy when you're busy and when you're getting a lot of your funding from this one source to sweep that under the rug a little bit. But most INGOs, their intention is to work in a better way, in an equitable way, in a transparent way. And so when you have this suite of tools and resources and learning to show people, it makes them more likely to sort of put their money where their mouth is or, walk their own talk. And so I really like the way SAS has positioned itself to say, this is not just something you do at the end to decide that you're going to transition it, but you should be thinking about from the beginning how your relationships with your partners are, how your structures are set up so that you are moving towards this from the beginning. I think that's very important. The main way that my consulting work has informed it is, again, just having an eye on different types of organizations. I was very well steeped in the major USAID partner world, and then how those groups interact with local organizations. And I think just seeing the range of other types of US-based organizations that are trying to get in there and maybe have a different way of working with local organizations as well has been really has kind of helped me sort of get more nuanced how I'm seeing all this. And I think that some of that, the tools that are connected to that lens of SAS equity, sustainability, power dynamics apply in a lot of, any situation where there are power dynamics. I think these tools can be useful. For me, it would be a great legacy for SAS Plus if people in 5 years, let's say, or 10 years, we're still using the term locally led transitions and talking about the transition as the ultimate, as a measure of success and as a best practice for how organizations work together. And like I said before, I think that applies to our sort of INGO local organization setup, but it can apply to anywhere where there's power dynamics and sort of smaller organizations or less powerful organizations that are in a position to be closer to where the needs are.